All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the September EAC meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order. First thing on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the August meeting. Does anyone have any comments, questions, additions, changes to the minutes?
Oh.
No. No. Okay, then do we have a motion to approve?
I'll motion.
Second?
A second.
All right, great. All in favor, approval of the meeting minutes, say aye, raise your hand.
Aye.
All right, minutes approved. Thank you. Next up, this will be the first month we go with our public comments early. Appreciate anybody that's in attendance and would like to give you an opportunity to make comments before the very end of the meeting.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Nicole Hoover. I've been a resident of McCandless for over 10 years. And I was asking Community Day to come in and repeat here the kinds of things that I talked about during Community Day. So I'm interested in seeing McCandless plant, not specifically, but replace a lot of the turf that we have on our public property with more native plants, both for the environmental benefits, but also because I watched them come through and weed whack and mow turf along the roadside. We could save a lot of money that way by just replacing it with plants instead. Also to ask the township to stop mowing down the native plants that already exist along the roadside, because every year we watch as the boom tractor comes through and cuts down all the milkweed near our neighborhood. And then if possible, it would be nice to see the township take care of the Japanese knotweed that is becoming a big problem around Wall Park before it spreads and becomes a more expensive problem later. And I mentioned at the booth that I have plenty of native seeds. I'm willing to share some of them to encourage this project. My kids brought seeds to give to, I guess, on the table.
Yes, please.
The only comment I would make is with the mowing, sometimes that's a vision thing, trying to so that people can see deer before they're on the road.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But in some of these cases, it's just they went right along the road and everything was wiped out.
And then with the knotweed, we did an unofficial experiment over by Heritage Center, doing what the conservancies have done, where they mowed it in June, and then I sprayed it with Roundup in August, and we'll see if that comes back up next year. But part of the problem from the township's perspective, because I've discussed this with them, is a lot of them, even if they control the knotweed that's on their right of way, the knotweed is onto other people's property, so they can't do anything there. So it's knotweed and stiltgrass are a pain.
Yeah, and we did see the work done by the Heritage Center, and we're very excited as a family about that.
That's Dawn's. She's on TV there, but
That's Dawn's
she's the one
project.
who is in charge of that. She does a good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nicole,
Yes.
I'm on the video, sorry. We appreciate your comments. In particular, if there's some areas that you believe are getting mowed down that aren't a visibility issue, would you mind, we could email, I guess, could she email those streets to John and get them to us?
Sure.
It's a great idea.
And the email address is just eac@townofmccandless.org.
There you go. Thank you, John. And and I tell you, we the Japanese knotweed, especially at the rain gardens at the Heritage Center, we've sort of been leaving that to the end. We definitely want to tackle that, and so I'd love to talk to you about that. So if you email us those streets, then we can I can maybe get back to you and chat with you about the what Ken's working on and ultimately what we're going to end up doing with that. And maybe if you and your children were interested in helping out with that, that would be great.
Knotweed's a terror.
It is. I'm not sure
absolutely.
that too many people know about it.
Yeah, I don't either, but some, back in my old place, somebody cut grass, they dumped it behind my house, and I had all these wild berries, and within 2 years, just knotweed everywhere, so yeah, that stuff is terrible. I hate it, but gotta admire its resilience, I guess.
It doesn't have roots and it's rhizoids, and yeah, it's a special problem to deal with.
I tried to do it organic, so I'm just going back there pulling and making a big pile, trying to exhaust the plant. But yeah, it's usually one of the things organic gardeners say, spray it, kill it, so. Yeah, I would love to get rid of knotweed forever. It'd be nice.
It's definitely a multi-year process to get rid of knotweed. I mean, you're not gonna get rid of it the first time, but there's definitely some tried and true methods, so we'll be following those.
And Judy, I'm not sure, I just looked it up, and the knotweed is when you go along Irwin Road, it's
Mhm.
that giant thing that has those little white
It has white spikes on
like
it.
white spikes on it that just
Right.
it's almost like I mean, no matter what you cut it, it comes back like bamboo or something.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Right, and this time of year, it's huge, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It's- What the conservancies have been doing on their property is cutting it in June because it uses a lot of energy to grow. And then coming back in August and hitting it with Roundup, and that seems to get rid of it. We did that trial over by the ball field there. We'll see how it works.
Yeah. But it's
Remember, it used to
definitely gonna take several years, Ken, several attempts at that. You have to basically starve out the rhizomes.
Penn State had something a few years, probably a decade ago, about different kind of grasses they were planting on top of like a 4-step method. I don't remember it. I'll see if I can find it. The different grass that they plant on top of it to keep from growing back, so.
Yeah,
have
and there's
to-
native flower mixes. There's the Penn Hills or Plum Borough Shade Tree Commission, I forget the name exactly. They have a pretty successful mix that they use to keep their Japanese knotweed coming back in their parks. It's an Ernst seed mix, so we can maybe look into that if we can get some funding.
we're working on that.
Always
you.
want money. So thank you. Yes, thank you, Nicole.
Thank you very much, Nicole. I appreciate you coming and sharing your concerns and your ideas with us.
We've also talked about getting a list together of native plants to give businesses and developers and what they should be planting. So that is something we have talked about.
There is a
Right.
plan guide that Judy did, that's for the developers and stuff. You don't have to stay. If you want to leave, you're allowed.
But you're also allowed to stay if you're interested.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, thank you. Any more public comments?
No.
Nope. Okay, well then we will move on to the next item, which is nomination and election of chair and vice chair. As always, John, lead me through this because I tend to forget the exact way we do this, but I believe the first thing we do is call for nominations for a chair for the upcoming year.
Thank you.
I'm confused. I thought, didn't we already nominate you, Judy? Wasn't this already like a thing?
It's been a year. We went through the vice chair a couple of months ago. But we do this every September. Time flies. So I'm sorry, Ken, did you say something?
I was gonna nominate you.
Oh, good.
Okay.
A second.
That was swift.
Anybody, I think I said last month that, I don't know, I may come up with a bribe if somebody else nominated somebody else, but I will accept it for one more year. Is there anybody else that would take that nomination or that you'd want to nominate? Crickets. Okay, then I guess, John, if we only have one name before the committee, do we vote?
No, the fun word is, chosen by acclamation or elected by acclamation. So, yeah.
Ooh,
Okay, so sounds like I am elected by acclamation.
You're our acclaimed
Thank-
leader.
Yes, yeah,
Thank you for your confidence. All right, the next up, we'll move on to nominations for vice chair.
Is Jeff willing to be nominated again?
absolutely.
Great, then I.
I second that one.
Thank you. And I say that we have a strong team, and I hope that you stay on for more than 1 year, and I hope I'm vice chair for more than 1 year. So we're just getting started.
Okay, any other nominations for vice chair? All right, then I believe we also have Jeff as vice chair by acclamation. Thank you very much.
Yay.
All
Thank you,
right, that was relatively painless. Thank you. So I guess I continue to run the meeting. Next up, project updates. Student EAC member. Matt, you want to give an update?
Sure. Not a whole lot to let you know, but currently we got a total of 4, I believe, applications, if I'm counting correctly. And so we are reviewing those applications right now. John is reaching out to those folks, and we are looking to schedule the interviews with them the week of September the 25th. So hopefully we will have that ready to go. We will. I know that currently, I think Jack and Judy and Jeff and myself are scheduled to be on those interviews. If anyone else is interested in joining, you are of course welcome to. I will send out an email to everybody once we have that date and time established. So if you want to join or just listen in, that's certainly okay to do as well. And yeah, so our hope is to have that to, and then we need to figure this out. We haven't gotten a real word on this yet, whether or not we can, after those interviews, if we can say, if the people that are there can say, okay, well, here's the person that we'd like to bring to the EAC to move forward. Does that need to happen at an official meeting, or can that happen via like email? Can that be done? Can there be like a quick 10-minute meeting if people are available for everyone to jump on, or we can get a quorum to jump on to say, yes, this is the person. And the only reason behind that is to try to get the name to town council before their next meeting, which will happen before our next meeting.
Right, which I believe is October 9th.
Yes.
I think Jack said, yeah.
Theirs is October 9th. So unfortunately our hope was to get it done before their meeting here at the end of September, but that looks like that is not going to occur. So anyway, that's kind of where we are right now. Hopefully we will have a name by the beginning of October at the latest. It may be that we need to vote on this at our next meeting, in which case we won't have the junior EAC member until November,
right,
at least attending our meetings. But if we approve that person and town council approves that person, at that point, I can reach out, or Judy can reach out, whoever can reach out to them and say, hey, congratulations, you've been accepted. And, here's some things to start thinking about so that they can kind of start working before that November meeting, just so they can have a little more time involved. Yeah, so that's essentially where we're at right now. Unless I'm leaving anything out.
No, I think that's correct. Right now, have the applications gone out to everybody, or just
I don't
they've
think
just come to several of us?
I think they've just come to several of us. So if everyone would like to see them, I can certainly forward them out.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea.
Yep.
Let everybody take a look. I've only seen the first 2. The first one will take you a good bit of time to read. And I have not had a chance to look at the last 2.
Yeah, they came in, our deadline was September 11th. They came in at 3:30, or I think like 4 o'clock and 4:30 on the 11th or something along those lines. I was kind of like, oh, okay, well.
Yeah, they got it in.
But they got it in. That's right. They got it in under the wire. So.
That's right. So, and at least for the first two, we've at least got two excellent candidates, and I'm assuming the last two will be as well, so. Okay,
Don't discount the last minute people. I'm a last minute person.
no, I've
Oh,
not at
no,
all.
no, by no
A lot
means,
of
by no
hard
means.
So these interviews will be 15 minutes a piece, is that correct?
Yes,
That's the plan,
maximum.
yes. Yes.
So,
Um,
so two things. Is 4 people on that interview too many?
Well, I think there will be 4 of us on the interview. I don't think that all 4 of us need to necessarily be asking questions.
No,
I think that
I
it is
would
the type
agree.
of thing where we will come up with maybe a set of questions, or Judy, you have some from when you've interviewed people for other
I don't.
positions. Oh, well, somebody
don't.
does. I mean, you've talked to me.
No, Jack seems to think I do.
Okay.
I do not.
Well, either way, my thought was we can either come up with a stable of, I mean, maybe we can come up with a stable of questions. I can come up with a stable of questions, and then we can throw them around as to who asks them. So it doesn't need to be the same person asking the questions every time. All 4 of us can be there to listen to, or, I mean, honestly, I think, Judy, as long as you and I are there, I'm not concerned about anybody else
Right.
being there. If they want to be,
Right.
I'm happy to have folks there, but you don't need to be there, I don't feel.
Right, right. And the way, and I plan to run this the same way as we run the interviews for the EAC. And honestly, I've never had a straight list of questions. My experience, even when I interviewed and what I've done is, if we end up with 4 people, all 4 want to say something, everyone have one question.
Yeah.
One question. And you start, I don't know. Well, we can think about it, Matt. And if you want to come up with say 4 standard questions, so everybody gets the same thing.
I'm not
That
terribly
works too.
concerned about that. I'm not concerned about that sort of consistency. I feel like based on the applications, we might have different questions for these people anyway.
I agree.
So
I agree.
I'm more comfortable just saying, let's just talk to these folks and get to know them. I'm not worried about the specific questions that are being asked.
And that's kind of, but it helps if you know which person is running it, whether it's me
Yeah.
or whether it's you, Matt, and then take the cue from you. And you normally put out, does anyone have, and say no more than one question from anybody, but 15 minutes goes pretty quickly. But like you said, just to kind of put a personality and face with the application. That's all this is.
I was gonna say, I totally trust you guys to take the ball and run with this. I mean, you guys always sort of entrust me with my projects, and I trust you guys, so.
Yeah,
All right, thanks.
it really is more of a, if folks want to be there, they're welcome to, but please do not feel the necessity to jump
Right,
on, I think.
right. And are we sure Jack's going to be there? Because I thought his
No.
response was he didn't feel like he had to, but he would be if
Right.
we wanted him to.
Yeah,
So
so
I'm
he
not
may- he may
100%
not be.
sure. Right,
Yeah.
right. Okay. All right. Thanks, Matt, for kind of taking the lead on that and working on the scheduling.
Well, is there any reason why we want to expedite it? So is there any reason why anybody wouldn't want to do that over email, or have to wait to the next meeting to talk about it? Is there like,
I'm just not sure if there's a procedural reason why we're not
Right.
allowed to do that. I'm not sure if
We're
it has to be
allowed to?
recorded, if it needs to be public, if it needs to be, I don't know the procedure as far as that type of
Because
thing.
When people are interviewed for different members of committees like this committee or planning commission, it's whoever's present on the interview sort of like makes a general recommendation. And you guys can all see the video, and we could just sort of write a memo to town council saying, we recommend you guys appoint this person. Obviously, they can
So
do
it doesn't
today, but
it doesn't have to be a formal vote by the committee?
no, it doesn't.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
We'll leave
Great.
that up to you. We'll leave that up to you guys that get to meet them and interview them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we just write a quick recommendation memo or email and give it to Jack, and then hopefully that's okay.
That sounds great.
That
Yeah.
that sounds really good.
Yep.
Thanks. Okay, anything else on that item? If not, next up we have Jeff with the sustainability update.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're coming in really, really strong. We had 22 open items. John knocked about every one of those out. As a reminder, we need 276 points out of 790 or something, which is about 39% to achieve gold. We are right now at 270 points out of 276, with 3 more real categories left. So we're at 36% to get to gold. So we will get to gold. Here is the one caveat, is that there are certain items that you have to answer yes to have gold. We could get to 315 points, but if we don't answer yes to certain ones, then we will not qualify for the gold standard. So there are some that we have to really, go back to Brian with. I talked to Brian at Community Day, and I said, we are going to have to achieve certain things, and he's like, I will work with you. We'll get these things done. So I think that will be the last push to get those done. But the numbers will definitely play out to us being at least gold standard. We won't quite be platinum, but we'll be gold.
No, that's excellent news, Jeff.
Yeah.
Thanks to you and John, I know have worked really hard pushing this through.
A lot of work. Thank you.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, I appreciate that. I would say that the heavy lifting is on John. As project manager, I keep the thing going, and I try to keep it, keep us up to date and what's open items and but John is the one who has to go find all the answers. So he's doing yeoman's work.
Great. And once again, if there's anything, you need from any of us individually, please reach out. Do what we can.
Yeah, I think the next step is going to be, we're getting into energy, and then public health and safety, and then transportation. And I think those last two will be okay. We'll certainly have enough points. Energy is going to be a tough one. So again, there's going to be certain, requirements to say yes. And that's whenever I think that we'll need Jack's help, and certainly, for any influence that we have to have with Brian to achieve those.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions on sustainability?
What was the last one? Energy, public health, and what?
Public health and safety, and then transportation.
Okay, and the next item is roadside cleanups. I know now that Community Day is behind us, this is the next big push we have, and I know we've got a lot of moving parts we need to kind of start pulling together. So, Dawn, if it's all right, I'm going to hand it to you.
Yeah, honestly, now that Community Day is behind us, I am gonna push for this, but put my efforts into doing what we need to do to get this together. But we're on track. John has started posting on social media. We need to put more efforts into recruiting. I know, Judy, you said that there was, I think, a brownie troop that you hooked up with. I want to get a list from. There was a couple Boy Scouts and other groups, even a Girl Scout group or something else I saw at Community Day. So I want to get together with Angela or get a list from her of maybe the other groups that were there, and then the other groups that we've worked with in the past. I have to sort of dig through some of our notes, and we can reach out to those specifically. So I will, over the next couple weeks, be working on reaching out to some groups for recruiting. And then I also want to plan to do a couple additional social media posts, sort of, letting people know how much litter's been picked up so far, and maybe some facts about, how litter affects the environment and things like that, just to sort of help to drum up some interest as well, to go along with John's posts on social media. And then Judy, I think you and I maybe sort of need to have a call sometime, if we could, just to sort of finalize our routes, at least a priority of routes. And I don't know if Jeff, if maybe you want to jump in on that.
I would.
Okay,
Yes.
great.
Please.
Yeah, because we can probably know sort of which routes are most important to us, and rank them. And I'm thinking, and then just sort of depending on how many people we get, we can sort of know how we're going to pass those out. But Judy,
Yeah.
I'm hoping you're still able to help with the lion's share of the actual route map making piece.
Right, right. And that's where I could swear I saw an email from Dave last year that noted the different locations and which ones were hit, which ones weren't. I cannot find that email. So I don't know if Dawn, between you and Jeff and
Yeah.
John, you have those?
Let me take a dive.
Yep. Yeah,
Um,
I'll search for it too, and if I don't, I'll get it from Dave, the latest one.
Okay,
Unless Dawn, unless you're talking to Dave and you want to get it, but let's look for it first. And I'll know tomorrow if I have it.
okay.
I mean, I was involved. I was there when we were filling it in. I was there, so I knew the final product. And John, we would send it to you.
Yeah, we have the spreadsheet and everything.
Right, yeah, the spreadsheet and the routes and, who would normally, fulfill the need there. And so there is a
Right.
final product of the last day that we did this, or the last 2 days that we did this, that's out there one way or another. And I'm
okay, so
sure,
I figured somebody would have a spreadsheet. So John, you have that?
Yeah, I should have it. Jeff should have it.
yeah,
Okay,
definitely. Yeah, we have it.
okay,
I think the last piece is just sort of making sure we have enough supplies. And so I think I need to round up with John about how many gloves we actually have on hand and how many more we maybe need to secure, as well as bags. And then I think the poker sticks were sort of at question as to where they were. Did we locate the poker sticks?
I think there was only one left.
Yeah, we're just probably gonna order more.
Okay, okay.
So John, did Dave drop everything off with you?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So I can,
Try to take a look and see what the full inventory looks like, but we should be pretty okay now. And you did give us some fresh bags as well.
okay,
Yeah, so I will circle back with John just to confirm our numbers there, and if we need anything else, I'll run out and grab it and keep receipts.
Okay,
Or we use the donation, get the free ones to the extent that we want to use those, depending on how many good ones we have and whatnot of the gloves.
okay. Okay,
Yes.
so if you want to have, let me know if you guys want to get together on a call. Maybe as soon as next week, just to make sure we're not holding anything up.
Yeah, how about I'll get an email out to everybody. I'll make a note here and that next week is, we're still in September next week, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Please.
Okay.
I love so much. Don't-
Day's the 13th, so yeah, okay. Gotcha.
And
Yeah.
I think I could do anything but the 21st.
And I may or may not be busy the 20th, so 19th,
Okay.
20th, something like that. Yeah, there can be no delay and so we'll push this thing and I'm all in. I'm all in until the days. So whatever we need to do.
Okay.
John, do we advertise on the electronic boards? I know we did last year, the one at
Yeah, I mean, we'll put it up at Mechanics Crossing. I already have it up at our new sign up here too.
yeah, okay, so you only have it at the Heritage Center
Yeah,
and then we'll do Mechanics Crossing.
yeah.
Okay.
And,
I'll email Abby about the Heritage Center, or John, you don't have control of that, or?
control that. I have it up already.
Oh, nice. Okay, great.
Yep.
Perfect.
All right. So are we good to go with that for now?
Oh, one other thing, I'm sorry
oh.
about the litter cleanup. Do we need to, and John, Jeff, you might be best to answer this question. I'm assuming we need to arrange for the police to be escorting us again, for both dates. Jeff, are you familiar with which routes we prefer them on, or?
I think they're on a spreadsheet.
Excellent. So we do need to contact the police about those dates.
Yes,
I'll do
we
that.
do. So okay, so I guess the first thing is to let them know.
Yes, the
Remind
dates.
them about those 2 dates, reminding Jeff about DPW.
Yeah.
For
Right.
those dates. And we don't know how many we'll need because we're not sure how many people are signing up yet, and we'll remember, sort of the past years, how much we needed. So it will
Okay.
certainly look at the spreadsheet. Okay.
Yeah, I'll get them the dates and then let them know that we'll be getting back in touch with them with more specific details about routes and such.
Okay, that's great.
Okay. Okay. I'll do that. Okay, so I think that's it for the litter.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dawn. Next up, Brant Trail updates. Ken, do you have anything you can update us on?
Yeah, we're doing our third alternative as far as getting back down to the parking lot area. That's a work in progress. We have a couple of drainage areas that we have to work on. Jack and I are going to work on that this next week. I've been obligated for some other stuff that I haven't been able to get out there too much of late, but the trail is basically walkable at this point. And there's a very nice article in our local newspaper
Mm-hmm.
about the trail. And so we're hoping we can, particularly once Wall Park opens back up to the public, that we start to have people utilizing it. That's really all I have for that.
It was a
Right,
great article.
and I did have a chance to walk it as well, and you guys have done a super job. I walked it from the neighborhood location down to the front gate, and I could see where you benched out the areas, and it just, I didn't even recognize that roadway portion there at the gate. It looks really, really good. So and the little bridges put in, and it's a lot of hard work. Thank you so much.
I think when Jack and I get down there next week, the wooden bridges may well be downstream. After
Yeah.
that we had last week. But that's what we're going to be working on, is some of the drainage things.
Okay. But yes, the article was great too. Hopefully people see it and get out there. One question I have, because right now to use it, you have to park up in the neighborhood. Is that a problem at all? Do we heard any issues with neighbors? Because I know I kind of parked along the street there, and
I had asked Jack that and he said no.
okay.
If you're down, you go down that street at the end on the right-hand side, at the head of the trail, that's
Mhm.
township property. So as long as you're parked in that area, you're okay.
Okay. All right, thanks, Ken. Next up, Ken again, deer management.
We met with Suburban Whitetail this last week, and they basically tripled the number of deer harvested last year over the first year, so they're making progress. They have more properties participating in the program, and more hunters. Actually, they need more properties, and that's one of the ongoing things of some of the landowners that have more than 5 acres. We're having difficulty bringing them into the program. I talked with the One Homeowners Association, and most of the people there are in favor of it, but all she needs a couple here and there to make it not logistically possible. So it's one of those things that if anybody that you know that has more than an acre of land that would consider having an archery hunter, because we just, at my house, I have a picture on my phone that they're actually, this is September, and they're already on their hind legs trying to get food. So I don't know what they're going to do this winter. So we really do need to help the environment by reducing the number of deer. And a lot of the harvest also goes down to the share of the harvest, which then supplements the food banks with food for the people that need it. So it's not wrong. It's to help our environment and things, and it's just a matter of helping people to join the program and understand that it's for the benefit of everyone, and we don't have to have as many deer hit by cars and so forth too. So that's all, all I can do is ask you all that if you know any landowners, to encourage them to contact Suburban Whitetail, and to look at participating in the program. There's information on the town's website, both the presentation we did during COVID and also Suburban Whitetail's information. That's all I have. Archery season
right.
starts next weekend.
All right, thank you, Ken. Jack did print out a couple of sheets that we had on our table at Community Day. We had interest from maybe a couple of people. I think I handed out maybe 1 or 2 flyers. And that's we tried. All right. I don't have the item on here, but I just happened to see, I guess our Instagram had I guess the rain garden workshops. Dawn, is that being done strictly through the Heritage Center, or are you working with that as well?
No, that was me. I sent those to John, so I have
Okay.
been slow to get this is the time of year that we did it last year, although we started at the end of August last year, and I was a little bit behind because of Community Day. But yeah, we're just gonna
Right.
do sort of like we did last year. We'll do sort of 3 public calls for volunteers and see what we get. And then, you know, as it went last year anyway, a couple of those volunteers were interested in continuing to work. So we actually had a couple more weeks into it. But yeah, we'll just continue to clear. We got lots of work still to do. So yeah, that just getting those dates out there finally, and then that'll
No,
pretty
well-
much be it for the fall, you know.
Mm-hmm. No, thank you for for getting that going too.
Yeah, finally got that out.
You've been busy. Okay, next up, I guess Community Day recap. I asked Jack if he had anything to say, and he just wanted me to, he sent me an email. He said, from the town of McCandless, special thanks to all those from the EAC that worked so diligently at Community Day. Everyone really enjoyed the dirt, complete with worms. It's a huge success. I'm not sure how Dawn can sit on the ground that long and still walk. I had the same thought. She sat on the ground with the kids for what, a good 3 hours at least.
Yeah.
And he said, yes, the kids really did enjoy the crafts and dirt. He said, thanks, Judy, Dawn, Matt, and Jeff for your steadfast efforts to make the EAC stand out at Community Day. So I wasn't there for National Night Out. I heard that was a great success. I feel like we had another good success at this event as well.
So I would say one thing. So we had, you know, I mean, Dawn Sting was fantastic, and we had the dirt given out.
Mhm.
And then we had some other, some other things about the deer, and I had something of, some quick facts about standard or spotted lanternfly. But the thing is, the music's so loud that it's hard to get the message past who we are and what we do. So, I mean, when you went to the nature center, they had the nature center stuff. They would have a big thing with the owl, and they would have, things, pelts they could touch, and different things, and things that they could touch. But I felt like I couldn't get the message out. So I'm wondering if in the budget, the EAC banner is so nice. Can we get one? Because I think, Dawn, that you made one originally, or somebody did, that said everything that we do, or examples of things we do. Can we get something that's like that rubberish type of banner in the budget that would say litter, solar, deer management, sustainability, blah, blah, blah. So the talking points are there. So we're not like, I'm not yelling them at somebody. And if they want to talk about them, then we can talk about them or have handouts for them. I think
Yeah,
it's
well,
a picture.
a couple of things. I know we did sort of have a sign, and I know Dawn brought it, but it was out of date. It had some dates not updated. We didn't have a chance to fix that. I don't know how successful you thought that was in the past. It was our word tree, and the tree had, was built of words, things like litter cleanup, and then it would have some dates and of some things we had coming up.
I just brought the little mini one though, but if we want to use the word tree, and we don't have to, we can go with a more bulleted format. I agree with Jeff. I would like to see us get a more permanent sign built. And I tell you, Judy, I know you sort of told me to suggest what I thought we would need for money for it. But if you go on like FedExOffice.com to see like the different kinds of things you can get printed nowadays, I mean, like,
Mhm.
I just don't even know what y'all would want to spend, but I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. We could get one of those things where it's called a flag, but it's, you know, it's more or less, it's like a standing tall thing that it's
Mhm.
fabricated, but those are nice. You know, or we can go with more of like the sign that we have. I think one of the problems we run into is when we have these different events, it's always like a different setup. And
Right.
we never know where we're going to be able to mount stuff or what we're going to be able to mount to. So I sort of do like those standalone signs if we can spend the money, you know, on something like that, especially if it's something that can get used over and over again. I think it's worth it. So I don't know, Judy, do you maybe want to go on the FedEx, or do you want me just to sort of email you top 3 picks of what like might be
Yeah, I'd like to
best?
go over some ideas, and then certainly I'll research it, but you seem to have the you have the ideas. But you have a good point about not knowing how much space. We actually got more space than we anticipated at this event, because we were given one of the tents, one of the larger tents. So we probably had a tent twice the size as what we generally use. The table was larger. So plus we were given an end spot so that we had room for Dawn, and room for the standing Lorax, and yeah.
And that was all great, but to Jeff's point, with it being so loud too, and if you guys remember from Winterfest, we were right by the DJ at Winterfest. So
Mhm.
again, it's like we were screaming. I never know who's in charge of which events, but like, how do we get sort of a standing order into whomever the coordinators are for the various things? Can we be as far away from possible as the DJ and or music source, and also have, you know, a space for crafts or activities for the kids?
Well, and the Latotomy folks expressed the same thing to me, because I think there's been an attempt to keep us together, which I think is great. I love
It's
having
lovely.
our
I love
two
it. Yes.
our two, but I know they complained to me at the end, how can we get further from the speakers?
The noise. Yeah. You know, I almost feel like I know they sort of have well, it's not, Winterfest isn't our deal, but yeah, they could move the DJ sort of over by the little train thing, in my opinion, but where maybe he wouldn't be as as
Right,
loud for the
right.
booths. But yeah, I don't know. John, do you have any suggestions there about, you know, because I think, like, I don't know who was in charge of Community Day. Was it Joe Wall?
Honestly,
Jack-
probably Angela's gonna be the best bet.
Angela, for all events going forward?
I think she is a good first contact, yeah.
Okay, good.
Just to
Yeah,
lay
so
out, so.
Judy, should we send her an email with a standing request?
I don't know if it's worth doing now or as we get closer to the next event.
Okay, something to think
I-
about.
Yeah, I would say wait till we get closer to the next event, because she'll just file it away.
Okay.
And you know, I hate the first contact with us to be a complaint about something.
Yeah. Do you guys want to keep the word tree, or do you want to go with a more bulleted listing of what we do, something different?
If it's the word tree, and I actually like that a lot, can we change the word? I mean, maybe it's a dumb question, maybe you've already answered it, but I mean, because if we're working on, you know, bird migration right now, you know,
Yes.
that would have been a right, you know, the right word to have there for right now. If we're working on, you know, things that are more, you know, at this red hot moment, we're working on these things. We can just sort of post them up there, like you used to, you know, stick things up on a.
Giant clipboard? Or,
But maybe you
right.
want,
not
maybe
clipboard,
you want a whiteboard, like a marker
That's
board, for a
exactly what
pot.
I was thinking.
hot
Yeah.
stuff. And then we have a more standard, like maybe we keep the word tree or whatever, which just sort of talks about all of our ongoing projects generally. But yeah, maybe we get a little whiteboard, Judy, for our, but again, it'll always be an issue of like, okay, how are we gonna prop this thing up?
Right.
The booths that we had at Community Day were great because we had those poles we could put stuff on.
Mhm.
But for Winterfest, it's not like that. It's just a table. So we'll have to think
mean,
about.
It
Yeah,
might just be
yeah, well-
buying an easel, you know? If
Right.
we
I would love
either,
for us to have an easel.
either a ground easel or one that, even a small one that can sit on the table if it's a small whiteboard.
Right.
Judy, if you're willing to get
Yes.
your building tools back out, I saw on Pinterest this really cool easel looking display thing that I think would be super easy to build and give us a lot of options for displaying things. I'll email it to you.
That sounds fine. Yeah, if it's kind of simple. And I don't know if Andy can hear from upstairs.
He'll love it.
I'll-
Andy
I'll-
will love
Yeah, oh,
It's pretty
volunteer
easy to
him to help
build,
me
I heard.
build something.
it. Easel.
It's very easy to build.
Okay. Anything else? I know we're kind of working our way through these types of events since it had been a while, but I think it's going well. And Dawn, you just put so much effort into this.
Amazing.
Actually,
Yeah.
could we talk about storing the Lorax board somewhere at the township? Maybe DPW could give us a space or somewhere in the building so we don't have to haul that back and forth and I can get it out of my basement permanently. That would be awesome. And
If,
maybe the
I mean,
trash monster until it falls apart.
oh, the
No,
trash monster. Did everyone see pictures of the trash monster? You need to send those out.
Yeah,
Trash monster was amazing.
So the
it-
might be as tall as that microphone
Mhm.
and half of the TV.
Okay, that's really not big at all. I mean, I could store that. We have a closet back here. But I have the EAC stuff, probably go in there.
Okay, John, when I come over to talk supplies with you and see what we've got, I'll bring you the trash monster and the Lorax. Thank you. Awesome.
And-
Okay. That's for me.
The only thing I can think of that is t-shirts. Like logo t-shirts for everyone to wear at these events.
Oh, that'd be nice. Alright.
Well, we do have, I know I had my name tag on. Some of us have name tags, those that have been around for a while. It's not as visible as a t-shirt. I guess there's a couple of you newer folks that probably need a name tag. Okay, any other community day thoughts before we'll put Winterfest aside until we get through litter cleanups. All right, next up, NA student outreach. Matt, anything else new there?
No real updates at this point. I sent an email out this week to Jan Ellen to get an update on whether or not they're going to continue with the catch basin labels or not, and if they are, if they need more supplies or not. So I have not heard back yet on that, but hopefully I'll have a report for you next month, or I might email out because I know Don, that other student is looking for stuff as well. So
right. And I haven't gotten back in touch with Jack or whoever to get in touch with Jeff to see exactly what we have in storage.
Yep.
Yeah, just let me know as soon as you have that. No.
Okay.
Sure.
I don't want him to lose interest in us.
Oh, I know. I kind of got caught in the middle of a bunch of things. All right, I still have Lanternfly outreach on the agenda. Jeff, did you have anything additional that you wanted to talk about?
I don't know that I do, because I don't know, what that means at this point or what we can do. So, but I guess a little history is that, for Community Day, I pushed pretty hard with Penn State Extension to supply us with some of the signs, is squish it, stomp it, scrape your shoes, whatever. Send us one of the traps that they make. Something we didn't get any of that, but I was told that the nature center would have some signs, and it may be Sam Shepherd of Allegheny County Stewards might have some signs, might be talking about it. I don't know that anybody was really asking about it, and I don't know that anybody was really looking for information. I don't know what our what part we play right now with the community with regard to Lanternfly, because I think they're getting their information in signage, by what they see on the street and what they see on a tree. I don't think anybody is really, at this point, I don't think it's alarming in the community. And they're certainly not, they're not recommending that we use pesticides or even the double-sided tape that goes around trees, because that could have an effect on other pollinators and birds and different things. So according to Penn State Extension, they're saying everybody just calm down right now. They're not necessarily pinpointing lanternflies to be responsible for destroying any crops by themselves. With others, they could be. So I don't know that we have a role right now with regard to lanternflies. That's why I'm sort of going on about that. I don't think we have anything, and I don't think anybody's pushing us to have anything. And I don't think Penn State is looking for us to raise any type of flag on it.
When I
Oh,
talk,
I think
Well,
John did a post for us, and I do want to, John, didn't you do a post about lanternflies? And I do appreciate that, because I do think the town shouldn't have been silent about it, but I do think John had our backs.
Yeah, it was something from the state that we shared, and we
Yeah,
did response because people are hearing about this pretty frequently. So
and I was gonna say, it is getting discussed on the community groups on Facebook. I mean, people I know they definitely weren't talking about it at Community Day, but it is a discussion that is going on in parts. I think some people are seeing them and some aren't, and it's just, if you're seeing them, you're probably grossed out and talking about it. And if you're lucky enough to not be dealing with them, you don't sort of know. But yeah, I think everybody's sort of got the general message by now, and John had our back. So I think we've sort of checked our box for getting the word out.
when I talk with the state people, they're doing survey and stuff, and we don't seem to have the infestation here that they do like in Westview and things. So it's not as apparent here as it is in other areas. What they're doing at the state is on some of the plants like Tree of Heaven. They're spraying it in dormant season with a systemic pesticide that should wear off by the time the tree is flowering, so that they can control the population while it's still in its early nymph stages before it's in the adult stage. The other thing they suggested, and I don't think we have a big enough infestation really to do this at this time, but one of the trees that they like is walnut. There's a lot of walnut in Wall Park. And so one of the things that they've been doing in areas with heavy infestations is during the winter, having the kids going out and doing an egg crush, making it a fun event and going out and destroying the egg masses. But I don't think we have a sufficient quantity at this point to make that a worthwhile effort to look at, although I'll keep my eyes open in Wall Park, looking at the walnuts and seeing if we're seeing the egg masses and stuff. That's all I can add.
Yeah, so there's no doubt that if they're in Westview and they're, and we see them other times and we don't see them, at other times, they're probably coming here. It's we're our eyes aren't closed about this. They're probably coming here. But I think what we can do is we can raise awareness, as we said. John had our back. He sent something out. I did a tip on it, a McMail tip on it a couple months ago.
Right.
If we see that it starts to pick up, what can we do as the EAC? We can raise awareness in the community, and we can try to push it. We can try to partner with other people to make sure we have the right material.
Well,
Yeah.
and I also love Ken's idea of hosting an event where we pick a public area and we gather people and if we know egg masses exist, and go ahead and have like a crushing event, turn it into a fun thing, have some refreshments and such. And I did.
Yeah, and when we get to that point, we'll pull that one off the shelf because I mean, that's a great interactive event. So
And actually, Wall Park would be a great place to do it because, we could also maybe do like a little ribbon cutting on the trail or something.
I think another thing that would be nice if we do have an event like that is to like record like a little tutorial video.
Nice.
This is how you scrape it, this is how you crush it type of thing that then can be posted on social media or wherever. So that then people who aren't at that event, they see them in their yards or they see them when they're out, or they just want to go and have their own, Sunday out crushing eggs, then they can do it.
I love it. I mean, if you want, I can get a video next time I'm out with my fly swatter, which is literally virtually every day.
I mean, I don't know if you've seen the videos that are going around of the guy downtown who's got the salt gun. He's got a little salt pistol, and it's just a close up of him, and he just destroys them. It's pretty amazing.
A salt pistol?
Yeah, it's a little. They're called like bug assault guns or something like that, and they're these little they have little salt pellets in them, and then you just shoot them at them, and they blow up essentially.
I'm gonna Google that. I literally just ordered on Amazon a leather telescoping fly swatter because I've gone through 2 plastic fly swatters so far that I've broken because I'm, so I thought the leather telescoping would be the way to go, but this assault gun sounds amazing. I'm writing this down.
I'll see if I can find a link. I'll send it to you.
Who
I
gave John
have-
an assault gun?
I have a salt gun. If you want to borrow it, you're more than welcome to.
Oh, Ken, that's amazing. I'm totally gonna take you up on that. Okay, I'm emailing you.
Okay, so it sounds like that's not something right now we need to keep on the agenda. Something we
don't
think
know,
about
and-
to pull back out.
I'm not sure if we do or if we don't, because we just had a good conversation about it and that's what we're supposed to be doing. So at least maybe we assess its advancement or where it is each month.
All right, I'll leave it on for next month if we'd
Okay.
like to continue the discussion.
Just as real quick with it, it's like with Gypsy Moth, when that came through Pennsylvania, I mean, I literally slid through stop signs because there were so many caterpillars on the street. And over a 10-year period, the birds figured out that they're edible, the chipmunks and mice figured out that the egg masses were edible. But you had this tremendous spike, when something initially comes in and there's no natural predation of it. And that's what we're looking at over the next 5 years. We might not have that here, but that's the potential is for that just to utterly spike, and next year we're inundated with them. So it's one of those things of that's how that stuff works its way through. So for right now, it's not an issue. It might be a big issue next year.
Okay,
I know
all
the
right, well,
kids are killing them on the recess yards. That's my kids are reporting
Yeah.
that they're chasing them down and crushing as many as they can. So they're
Nice.
excited about that. They have a lot of fun doing that. Landing on teachers. So
Excellent.
This is what's going to bring us all together, folks. This is it. This is the common enemy.
That's something we can all agree on.
all right, good discussion, thanks. All right, that's all I have for the main items. Miscellaneous, October McMail tips. Once again, Ryan, really nice job last month. And you gave a nice segue to next month. So
On it.
the hope is that you'll follow that up with October's tips.
You got it.
Woohoo!
Perfect.
Thank you.
And all right, the next up would have been, let's see, it's not town council. Was hoping for an update on our open position. Did not find out from Jack where that might be. John, do you have any insight there?
I don't, but I'm probably just gonna formally ask Brian when we meet on Friday about possibly just advertising that position again.
Okay, that would be great.
That's
I
what it sounds
appreciate that.
I think for us. So,
Yeah, thank you. Because it's still going to be time to advertise and go through the whole application process again. Next up, the budget. I put together a very basic draft I guess, accounting of some numbers that Dawn came up with. I talked with Jeff. I put a few things down that I know I've spent money on. Did I print it out and bring it with me? I did not. So what I'd like you to do, because I know Jack wanted to get that from us sooner than later, please take a look at it. If you have something, I'd say within the next week. So what is today, the 13th? So by the 20th, anybody have suggestions, additions, please email them to me and I'll try and put a final together. I still feel like I know we're missing things on that list, and we sit here and talk about items that I know weren't on there. I'm really thinking a number of $1,000 a year in that range sounds like it would fill our needs. But I just want to make sure we catch everything.
Yeah, we should get those T-shirts and that signage and things like that on there, or I don't know what we want to call it, but
Right.
PR something or other.
Right.
When you go back a few years, Kim wasn't worried about us, Kim Zachary, she wasn't worried about us really having budget because we were always basically like petty cash. So.
Right. But it sounds like, Jack has asked us so that we can have our own budget and we know exactly how far we can go.
I think that may expand as we have the trail to maintain and things like that too.
Okay. But it's good to have a place to start. And we'll start keeping track of that. And as always, I know, John, I have a whole handful of receipts I need to get to you from two events worth of dirt and worms. And I'm sure, Dawn, you probably have things, make sure we get all those to John here in the next,
Yep.
as soon as possible. Okay, anything else on the budget? All right, any topics that anyone would like to add to the agenda for next month?
Gotta do light pollution.
You bet.
What about it? Well, I mean, the town has a light ordinance, 1995. It's been a while. Technology is new, and maybe I was driving, we have all these car dealerships right out here. I was driving by the Acura. The Acura is real nice lights, shielded, pointed straight down. And I forget, I can call it names, but other ones that just throw it out there. And I think there's room for an update to some, the codes, or at least let them know that here's some things that we could do to eliminate, to keep the light down.
Check on the code, because like the code just all got renewed.
I checked fairly recently, within a couple months.
I know my neighbor checked on something 2 months ago and it was in the process of being updated, so he was going by the old code and
I'll give it a
talk
look.
with somebody to see, they may have already
Yeah,
done something.
okay. I know, well, I wrote to Kim Zachary, like,
She's no longer
and
here.
it was like 2 years ago,
Okay,
about light stuff, and they said they were working on something, but I'll double
Okay.
check.
No, I will put you on the agenda for next month. Thank you.
And Judy, as you know, we talked, I would like to somehow get recycling, composting back on the agenda, but right now there's not room until we have another person on a committee to take that up. So there's no room in anybody's time to do that. But I would like to eventually, once we fill that position, to have those topics back in a committee.
Right. And thanks, and keep bringing that up because I agree that's an important function of the EAC. And that is on I keep a running list of old projects that have kind of gone dormant, and that's on the top of the list.
Thank you.
Just
Okay.
sorry, just
Yeah.
related to recycling. I don't know if anybody else, I mean, I'm sure you all noticed if you were at Community Day that they moved the cardboard recycling bins in order to have room down there, and that was a topic on a couple of the McCandless forums on Facebook. When I asked Jack about it, he said that, yeah, they moved them out for that day, but they were not in any hurry to bring them back. because folks have been putting stuff in that's not crushed down and leaving stuff on the ground and all sorts of things like that. So I don't know exactly what that means, but I would say if there is a way to bring them back, I know that folks are not pleased that they're gone. And I mean, I don't know how to make people behave correctly. I don't think we can, but I do think it's a valuable thing for us to have access to for the town.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Matt. But
Yeah,
you're
and-
right. I did hear you discussing that.
In one of our sustainability topics that John and I recently worked on, we had to come up with the percentage of pickup from waste management that doesn't make it to the landfill. And so really, you know, what's a tonnage, or, you know, based on what they pick up and how much of that is recycling. And we're about 21% of our total is recycling, which doesn't get us a lot of points, and it seems pretty low. So it seems like that message isn't really resonating with the community about, you know, our recycling, what's available, glass. You know, we need to somehow raise that number that doesn't go to the landfill, so we look a lot better, not just for sustainability, but, you know, and I'll find out what the average is across Pennsylvania, but it seems low to me.
You know, it sounds to me like maybe after our next, so for what, November's mail tips, maybe we should do a reminder of, you know, about how the materials need to properly be recycled, what percentage actually makes it, that we have to do a better job as a community to get our numbers up.
Yeah.
And that people
And I'm
putting
sorry.
it correctly and that sort of thing.
Right, and this is a, you know, this is a real, you know, that would be a pet project of mine. Once we get through the sustainability, I'd like that to be a 2024, you know, going to the plant, learning, you know, what we've lost through losing Dave in knowledge of recycling, I think is, you know, we have to somehow gain it back, and I'd like to take that on in 2024 and try to be sort of a, you know, maybe, you know, some education process, as you're suggesting, Dawn, for the community through McMail tips or whatever that it is. But I think we're missing that right now. That's a hole that the community needs.
Jeff, do we know those numbers that you're talking about, the 21%, do we know where those come from? Is that just the amount that's picked up out of the bins that have a blue lid on them, or is it the actual amount that's picked up that can indeed be recycled? Because I see people all the time throwing stuff in their recycle bin that can't be recycled, which I know kind of like I've heard in the
Yeah.
past that can pollute the whole batch, and they'll just pitch it. Are they counting that, or are they just saying, oh, this is how much the recycling truck picked up, which is probably higher than the actual amount that they're recycling?
I think you're hitting it
Yeah.
head on.
And to be fair, the numbers we're talking about too, it's basically what's recycled and what's thrown out in the trash at town facilities. So it's not people's.
Oh,
bins.
okay,
Oh,
so we're not talking
okay.
about residential. Okay,
Okay, thank, I didn't, okay.
didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah, because that was more of like an internal question, I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, thanks, John. Thanks for reminding me of that.
You said if there's something in there that they'll throw the whole batch out.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
oftentimes
that's-
that's the way it works, is that if it contaminates the batch, in other words, if recycle it, like they can't separate it, right? They have certain, they can separate out the different types of things that are being recycled. But like if people are throwing, for instance, pizza boxes are a huge problem for
Mhm.
cardboard recycling because they're contaminated with grease. And so if pizza boxes are found in there, they can't be like, oh, we're going to pick out every pizza box. Instead, they just pitch the whole batch.
Like a tip, not to do this. If you're gonna throw this in, just don't bother throwing that in the recycling. If you're not gonna do these, just throw it away. I don't know if
Yep.
renting out containers is one thing that gets the whole thing contaminated, or
It can, yeah, and
Yeah.
it's always like if it's the wrong type
Oh,
of
God.
plastic or things like that. So that's why
Yep.
there's the old when in doubt, throw it out. You know, I'm a huge fan of recycling, but I also tell, like when I was
I'm not-
teaching
yeah,
environmental science, I'd tell the kids, like, if you're not sure, you got to throw it away because you don't want to ruin this whole batch of recycling.
I'm surprised not every batch is thrown out if it's food and stuff, because I know nobody's paying attention. Some are, very few, but I imagine most people are just, I'm recycling, I'm throwing my pizza boxes in there, and they have no idea.
Yeah.
So like knowing what that stuff could be helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
Like just don't
the
even bother.
problem is that we have to get the word out to people. Like the McMail tips are great if people are getting that email and they're reading the tips, right? Like I don't know. I always feel frustrated about this kind of thing because I'm always like, well, are we yelling into the darkness here, or like who's listening to us?
Well, I think McMail tips, social media. So we need to put together some posts, and I can work. I can send an email around, and we can get some material together to slap into some posts. And then using our booth at these events. Maybe we need to create some sort of a sign for the wonderful display, easel that Judy's going to build us about.
I got you, Don. I got a perfect idea.
Oh, are you going to build us an art installation of stuff you can't recycle?
No, I'm going to host a game show at the booth, and it's going to be can it be recycled or not? And we're gonna play for prizes, and you're gonna get recycled plastic garbage to take home.
You would be so good at that, Matt. You were so good at Community Day with the kids. I can totally see it. You can wear like a fun suit. We can get you like a bow tie.
Oh yeah. We'll do it. We'll do it. Let's figure this out for the next thing.
Woo!
I think it's a great idea.
I love it.
Excellent.
Oh, what a great meeting.
Oh, very good. Very, very good. All right. Unless anybody else has something that they'd like to bring up, we don't have Jack for our town council report. So
We have
there's
another.
nothing else?
Yeah, we have another public comment. If you
okay.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
absolutely.
Greatly appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
It's bird migration season, as you mentioned before. And Birdcast says that tonight, tomorrow night, and Friday night are high migration nights for McCandless. And I'm wondering if that could be posted on Facebook. It was posted last fall and in the spring. And now it's time for the migration. And I don't know how to get it to the people on the Zoom, but the website is Birdcast and it's local. And I'm hoping that it can be posted on Facebook.
Yeah. Miss Wright, we can use that exact same format we used last fall and spring and just post it with the new dates. I'll send that to John.
Excellent. And the Birdcast, if you go to Birdcast local and put in McCandless, it'll tell you what other dates are high migration dates. So if there are other dates that are high migration dates, is there a way, and I check it, is there a way for me to contact somebody to say, hey, look, Birdcast says this is a high migration, to put an alert out for people to turn down their lights outside and to shield the lights that are going into the yards?
I did miss the call last week because Community Day was crazy, but yeah, if you just want to leave a message, like I can easily screenshot this and share it. Like I'm gonna do that before I leave tonight.
Okay.
So I get that out of the way.
No, Joe, what about the EAC email that you just gave
Yeah, I can use that too.
the other person? And I mean, if you want, now, how often do you monitor that email?
Daily. I can see it. It's
Okay, so if you go to the website, the new website, right? Tell me if I'm wrong, John. If she goes to the new website and the EAC has its own, and you want to just connect the link to that or whatever that it is, and send that, and then you're getting it right to John, and like you said, he checks it every day.
Okay, excellent. And then Ryan, you're the new EAC person interested in light pollution, a topic dear to my heart. There's a book called The Darkness Manifesto, written by a Swedish bat biologist. And I think a couple years ago, the EAC was interested in bat boxes. I seem to have a memory in the last 3 to 5 years that was a conversation. But he talks about the art and the history and the science connected with preserving the night. And it's very readable and it's extensive.
Check it out.
Then just in case you're shopping in Giant Eagle, Natural Awakenings, Natural Magazine. They have a thing about light pollution and the turtles and on page 20. So
Terrific.
light pollution is people are becoming more aware of it, so it's exciting that the EAC is posting things about the birds, keeping the lights down, and somebody's interested.
Yes, yes, indeed.
So that's what I have. Thank you very much for letting
So,
me know.
so did you read last month's McMail tips?
You know what, I'm not on the McMail, I'm actually fairly low tech, but was light pollution in the McMail tip?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna start bringing it to people's attention. So hopefully
Wonderful, oh, that's so exciting.
we can do something.
Is there any way to see the McMail tips, like just on the basic, on the general website, or do you have to actually get? the
I can
McMail
actually,
tip?
I'm a little behind what with the whole update, but I can post the links easily to the website. But I
Okay.
tried to have a little archive going for a couple of years back. It's under, I think it would be under the residents tab.
Okay, cool beans. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, any other items for discussion? And if not, then anybody have a motion to adjourn?
A motion.
I'll
Second?
second.
All right, all in favor? Aye,
Aye.
all right, meeting's adjourned.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Great meeting. Thank you.
See ya.